Tonight, widow's anger. The teenage killer of an Elgin bus driver is due to be released from custody. Keith Rawlinson died after being attacked at work. Also tonight, Sir Keir Starmer says late-night briefings from Downing Street claiming there's a plot to oust him are unacceptable. Getting ready for winter, resilience planning for rail, road and ferry networks is underway. And in sport, Lyndon Dykes, who missed out on Euro 2024, says he's desperate to help Scotland qualify for the World Cup. Good evening, I'm Norman MacLeod and this is the STV News at 6, live from Aberdeen. The widow of an Elgin bus driver who died after being attacked by a 15-year-old boy says the Scottish Government must change guidelines after being told he could be released early. Keith Rawlinson suffered a cardiac arrest after the attack. The youngster pled guilty to culpable homicide. Now Keith's widow has been told the teenager could be freed after being in custody for less than 3 years. Nicola McCally reports.
The police knocked on the door at the time he should have been coming in. I was in bed because I was on an early the next day and the dog went mad and I says, "It's just your dad." But the door didn't open.
Sue Rawlinson's husband Keith never came home. He suffered a cardiac arrest and died in hospital after being attacked while at work as a bus driver in Elgin in February 2024. His killer, a boy of 15 at the time, admitted culpable homicide and was sentenced to 4 years and 4 months at a secure unit. But now Sue's been told he could be released after serving 2 years and 10 months and possibly even earlier. She found out in a letter from the Victim Notification Scheme. What did you think when you read that letter?
I was devastated, absolutely devastated, to think that he's going to be out next December. I don't think 4 years, 4 months is long enough when they've taken a life. And now it's been reduced a lot. 2 years, 10 months is no length of time for taking a life.
Sue says the nature of the incident meant she couldn't even hold her husband's hand as he died.
He says you're not allowed to touch him because it'll ruin evidence. So we're watching my husband, they're watching the dad die. We couldn't hug him, we couldn't hold his hand, couldn't do anything. Could just talk to him. So even that was taken away from us.
Now she's calling for the scrapping of new guidelines which mean rehabilitation and shorter sentences are prioritised when under 25s are sentenced in Scottish courts.
It needs scrapping. They do know what they're doing. They know fine well they're adults at 25.
Sue's now pushing for a face-to-face meeting with the First Minister John Swinney and wants other victims' families to band together to push for change to the ruling. She says she just wants justice for Keith. The Scottish Government has been approached for comment. Nicola McCally, STV News.
The Chief Constable of Police Scotland insists no cases of rape or sexual assault carried out by men who identified as women have been recorded as female crimes. But Joe Farrell admitted the force had given out mixed messages on its policy of recording the gender of offenders. Appearing before a Holyrood committee, she said offences of all types will now be logged with biological sex rather than self-identification. Gordon Cree explains.
This was the image that brought gender ID and rape cases into the spotlight. Charged with rape as a man, Adam Graham was recorded as male on police systems, but by the time of coming to trial had self-identified as a woman called Isla Bryson. That prompted questions about whether a male identifying as a woman at the time they were accused in the first place would be recorded as female. Today, the Chief Constable told Parliament's Petitions Committee that has never happened.
If we look at our data in relation to the recording of men accused of sexual offences, rape and sexual offences. There have been 16,258 offences recorded on our crime system since 2018, and every one of those has been recorded accurately. That is a biological man who has committed or suspected of committed that offence, and that is how they've been recorded.
All of this has its roots in one of the most contentious public policy debates in years: gender self-identification. Campaigners say that while the waters have been muddied, now they're getting some clarity. In 2019, Police Scotland's position was that it recorded offenders based on self-declaration, unless the sex or gender was relevant to the investigation. In 2023, in written evidence to the Petitions Committee at Parliament, it said a rapist could be recorded as female if they were a first offender and the attending officer was satisfied they presented as female. But in autumn last year, the Chief Constable said a man who commits rape will be recorded as male. Today, she said all offenders, regardless of their crime, will be recorded in their biological sex. One of the group who brought the petition says accurate data is vital for making public policy.
I'm not sure Police Scotland could honestly say hand on heart that in these preceding years that there aren't people who have been recorded as the opposite sex across all crime types. If she has confidence on rape and sexual assault, then that's clearly good news. But what matters here is the policy, and as you say, the policy has not been, the communication of the policy has been poor.
Because she says all along rape and sexual assault would have been recorded by biological sex, but clearly that wasn't the perception people had.
No, and statements made by Police Scotland did not reflect that.
Today, the Chief Constable accepted there had been mixed messages. She says the force is now working at pace to implement the new recording policy across police systems. Gordon Cree, STV News, Edinburgh.
The Prime Minister insists he never authorised an attack on Cabinet colleagues. Sir Keir Starmer said late-night briefings from Downing Street claiming there was a plot to oust him were unacceptable. The First Minister believes the speculation around a leadership challenge shows the Labour Party is riven with internal dissent. Here's our political correspondent, Ewan Petrie.
Is the Health Secretary a traitor or a faithful Prime Minister?
The Prime Minister's aides believe Cabinet colleagues are looking to banish Keir Starmer from number 10. Last night, briefings from inside Downing Street tried to kill off any leadership challenge. They accused Health Secretary Wes Streeting of plotting against the Prime Minister. He spent the morning pledging his loyalty.
What we've seen from Downing Street overnight are a series of categorically untrue briefings. Whoever's behind this has been watching far too much Celebrity Traitors, and what they've said about me is probably the most unjustified attack on a faithful since Joe Marler was banished in the final.
Can be made not the leader of the opposition.
In Parliament, the Prime Minister defended him.
The Health Secretary said there is a toxic culture in Downing Street that needs to change. He's right, isn't he?
Mr. Speaker, my focus each and every day is on rebuilding and renewing our country. But let me be absolutely clear, any attack on any member of my cabinet is completely unacceptable.
Attention then turned to who might be behind the briefings.
The person responsible for the culture in number 10 is his Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney. Does the Prime Minister have full confidence in him?
Morgan McSweeney, my team and I are absolutely focused on delivering for the country. And let me be clear, of course, Mr. Speaker, I've never authorised attacks on Cabinet members. I appointed them to their posts because they're the best people to carry out their jobs.
Since Labour swept to power last year, the First Minister believes voters have been left disappointed.
What's happened overnight, I think, will disappoint people in Scotland even further, because it's quite clear the Labour Party is riven with internal dissent, and it therefore can't focus on sorting out the major challenges that the Labour government was elected to solve.
This was a high-risk strategy designed to shore up support for the Prime Minister, with less than 6 months until the Scottish election. Ewan Petrie, STV News.
As Ewan said, the row comes just months before the Scottish Parliament election next May. Our political editor Colin Mackay has sought reaction from Labour MSPs to the turmoil. Colin, what have they been saying then?
They're not impressed. This was supposed to help the Prime Minister, heading off any potential post-budget leadership challenge, but it has spectacularly backfired. One Labour person described it to me today as a stupid thing done by stupid people, because all it does is highlight concerns about Sir Keir Starmer's leadership among his own MPs. And going into the Holyrood election, that is the last thing Labour MSPs want. Do you have full confidence in the Prime Minister?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think that the party is as united as he claimed at Prime Minister's questions?
I think the party's united. We want to take on the forces of reform and win the Scottish elections next year.
And you're going into that election next May with a party that looks divided. That's difficult for you, isn't it? It's making it difficult for you.
Well, I'm somebody who believes in unity at all times in the party. You know, we
Well,
have to back our leaders.
Just now.
Anybody who isn't backing the leader makes to ensure that they do.
I think as someone I backed as Prime Minister, you know, as someone I've supported. So
you still back him?
Yeah, I think he's he's trying his best in a very difficult set of circumstances for the country. The problem is there's no easy way out of the challenges the country's got right now. You know.
What do you make of the turmoil in the Labour leadership at the moment? Pauline, what do you make of the turmoil in the Labour leadership?
I haven't really caught up with anything.
Do you think Keir Starmer's the right person to keep leading the party?
Yes.
Do you have full confidence in the Prime Minister?
Yes.
Do you think he's the right person to lead the Labour Party into the Scottish election next year?
Well, Nassauer will be leading the Labour Party into the Scottish election
next year. Or do you think
he
should be Prime Minister during that? Or do you think he damages your party?
Well, I think it's quite likely he will be Prime Minister during that.
Do you hope he will be?
I think he will be the Prime Minister during that.
Do you hope he will be?
Well, I hope the best person to be Prime Minister is the Prime Minister.
Even if that's not Keir Starmer then?
Well, at the moment that's Keir Starmer, isn't it? So.
Just 6 weeks ago, the Labour leadership managed to head off what amounted to a challenge from Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham at the party's conference. But this just raises the whole prospect again, and it puts lots of other names in the frame now. Now here, there was loyalty from Labour MSPs today, but they're really angry that they're even having to deal with it.
OK, Colin at Holyrood, thank you. Transport operators have been laying out their plans to deal with severe weather over the winter. The Scottish Government says investing in infrastructure to ensure the transport network can operate in difficult conditions is a priority. Here's Finlay Jack.
It feels like summer was only yesterday. But with winter now just around the corner, transport operators are preparing for another season of wind, rain and snow.
I think everybody recognises with climate change, these challenges, whether it's wet weather or winds, are here to stay, but we have to respond to them quickly and promptly. And I'm pleased we have the investment and the partnership in transport to make that happen in Scotland.
Scotland's major roads have flooded for an average of 62 days or 2 months every year over the last 3 years. A decade ago, that was only 20 days a year. Today, transport operators set out their resiliency plans, and the Road Policing Unit is calling on the public to help.
We need the public to be aware of what we require from them as well. And that is making sure your vehicle's ready, making sure that you understand the journey you're taking and prepare in advance for that journey. Listen to the warnings. We've already had an amber warning this year already, and last year we saw a red warning go out. So make sure your vehicle is fit for the winter.
We're barely into November, but Scotland's ferry fleet is already feeling the brunt of the weather. The Isle of Lewis ferry, which sails between Stornoway and Ullapool, was already unable to carry vehicles on sailings due to a technical fault. But thanks to the weather, today's and tomorrow's sailings have now been cancelled altogether.
Well, we take all routes seriously. All communities are treated equally, and we make sure that effectively we try and maintain a service across the entire network. It can be very difficult, particularly when there's bad weather, to ensure that, but we do move vessels around. We make sure that every community has a service whenever it's possible.
More disruption this year is inevitable on roads, railways and at sea, but the message from operators is clear: be prepared for severe weather and plan accordingly. Finlay Jack, STV News.
A union warns it's not sustainable for teachers to continue tackling their workload in their own time. The EIS union said it was impacting on their morale as they urged members to vote for strike action and action short of strikes in a statutory ballot today. The SNP pledged in its manifesto to reduce class contact time. A spokesperson for the government said they're committed to working with unions to agree an approach to reduce contact time.
Such are the conditions that they're working in at the moment, with not enough of them to do the vast amounts of work that are required to be done. That means that teachers can't do all that they wish to do, and that is impacting their morale, it's impacting their health, it is stressing so many of them out, not only when they're at their work, but when they are at home.
Scottish courts may have to change how evidence is considered in sex offence trials after a Supreme Court ruling. The UK's highest court dismissed an appeal by two men convicted of rape. However, it found the Scottish courts should modify their current approach to the admission of evidence in trials for sexual offences. That could mean judges being given more discretion to allow questioning of complainers about their behaviour and sexual history if it's considered relevant. Dundee University's financial crisis is showing a chink of light after the Scottish Funding Council approved a set of conditions to unlock a further £40 million in government funding. That's according to a local Labour MSP after the public body announced it has agreed a set of requirements to release more cash. It previously rejected the university's recovery plan in August.
Well, after a year of delay, a year of crisis, we are seeing, I think, some chinks of light at the end of that funding might be coming online. When I first spoke to the government ministers, they said they wouldn't put a penny into this crisis. Now it's looking like around about £40 million, and clearly there will be some strings attached to that, and rightly so.
A new recycling pilot is underway in Angus, which will see visitors to Forfar Recycling Centre have their general waste inspected. A sorting shelter has been constructed where staff will offer guidance and advice. Since launching on Monday, more than 160 kilograms of recyclable waste have been saved from landfill.
Any customer arriving with, say, a black bag or a box of mixed materials that they were intending to throw into the non-recyclable waste skip, we'll be asking them just to step over to our sorting station, which offers some cover from the rain, and just ask them to look inside their bags and pull out any items that could be recycled. So any plastic bottles, cardboard, etc. that happens to be in their bag, just put it into containers that are clearly marked at the sorting station.
This is to encourage residents to actually recycle more and put the things, that can be recycled in the right place. And it would save the council quite a lot of money, to be honest. For instance, general waste, it costs us to get that incinerated. It's much cheaper to dispose of waste that has been recycled.
Now, in a Dundee courtroom, justice sounds a little different. Sheriff Alistair Carmichael was diagnosed with motor neuron disease in January last year. It's robbed him of his voice, but he's still on the bench presiding over criminal cases using speech-to-text technology, believed to be the only judge in the world to do so. The full interview is on Scotland Tonight at 10:40 p.m.
My first hint that something wasn't right was my voice. Round about May of 2023 I had developed a slight lisp. I thought that it was peculiar but that it would probably go away. It didn't, and then I found that I was having to work a bit harder to get some consonants and words out. It's important to me to carry on doing this for as long as I can. It's a two-way thing because I get a feeling of self-worth from doing this. And it's not something that I want to let go of. MND affects different people at different rates, in different ways and in different orders. So it's a sleeked thing and it's hard for the medics to give an accurate prognosis. You don't know if it'll take weeks, months or years to do its work. I decided to try to carry on working and see where things would go. The jurors are told beforehand that I can't speak. When they are first confronted with me, I think that they are a bit bemused, but I am reassured at how quickly they seem to accept the situation and take it as being the norm. If anybody watching or listening to this, and that includes somebody with a diagnosis, their relatives, their colleagues or their employer, gets something positive from it, then that would give me huge pleasure.
Let's catch up on all the sport now with Chris.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Good evening, thanks for watching us tonight. Now, Scotland forward Lyndon Dykes says he's put the heartbreak of missing out on last year's Euros behind him and is ready to book a place at the World Cup finals. Well, as the Scots prepare for games against Greece on Saturday and Denmark next Tuesday, Dykes says playing in next summer's tournament in North America would be the highlight of his life. Here's Stephanie Daly.
Lyndon Dykes suffered every footballer's worst nightmare when the chance to represent Scotland at a major tournament was snatched away when he was stretchered off the training pitch just 2 weeks before last year's Euros in Germany. Having helped the Scots qualify for their second consecutive Euros, scoring in a 2-1 win away to Norway, the Birmingham City forward was forced to watch the finals from the sidelines. Now, ahead of back-to-back games against Greece and Denmark, the 30-year-old is ready to put the hurt behind him by bagging a place at the World Cup finals in North America next summer.
Obviously, now looking back on it, it's difficult, but I'm past that now. At the time, it was very difficult for myself. I found it very hard, obviously not helping out, playing in the Euros, which is major. But now I'm just looking forward, and the next thing's the World Cup, and we've got 2 major games, and we want to be getting, automatic straight to the World Cup, and that's the end goal for myself, and I'm sure for the whole team as well. So we've got an opportunity to do it. It's not going to be easy. We have to make sure we turn up for both games, and yeah, it will definitely be a highlight of my life and my career if we can do it.
France '98 was the last time Scotland made it to a World Cup. 27 years on, Dykes believes Steve Clarke's side deserve to make it to another.
Playing a World Cup, obviously, for personally, I never even thought I'd have the opportunity to do that. So it's such an amazing thing. I think what we've been through for the last number of years, we had the burden of the Euros, and we done that as a team. We got back-to-back Euros, and now the next thing is the World Cup, and everyone wants that, all the players, all the staff, and the whole nation. And I just think in general, we deserve it as a team for what we've shown over the past number of years. I mean, in general, I think anyone wants to play in a World Cup because it's just a pinnacle of your career.
If the Scots can avoid defeat in Athens on Saturday, it will set up a winner-takes-all clash with the Danes at Hampden next Tuesday. Stephanie Daly, STV Sport.
Those words, avoid defeat, gives me the fear. Now, women's national head team coach Melissa Andreatta admits her side can take inspiration from the men's World Cup hopes, insisting the Tartan Army must fully back both teams in their quest for qualification. Well, the Australian names her side for the upcoming friendlies against China and Ukraine at the end of November as they get set for their own World Cup qualifiers that start next year.
The passion of Scotland and for its football is the key thing that stands out to me here, and what I want to say and what I think we need to focus on, that while we're 2 teams, we're still one nation, and everyone needs to get behind both teams because we're still Scotland. Doesn't matter if it's a Caroline Weir wearing the tartan blue, or it's McTominay.
Well, now to rugby, and Scotland assistant Peter de Villiers is confident the squad do have what it takes to start beating the best teams in the world. That's after that narrow and very disappointing defeat to the All Blacks on Saturday. Well, Gregor Townsend's men welcome Argentina to Murrayfield this weekend with a boost in terms of fitness, with big players Finn Russell and Xander Fagerson both back in full training.
I'm very confident that this group can still grow. We've consistently been growing, and I think there's still growth in the boys in terms of just where they want to be, and the belief that they've got in themselves and the belief that we've got in them. So yes, I think we will go there. These things, I think, do take time. When you start knocking on door for the top 5 or play the top 5 teams.
That's all from me this week. Stephanie will be battling up the A90 and will join you with the sport tomorrow. See you then.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Well, it's all changing the weather. Things turning a bit colder from tomorrow. That'll be a shock to the system. Here's Philip with the details.
An icy start to the day will give way to a series of oohs and ahs. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Hello and a very good evening to you. Throughout the second half of this week, low pressure is dominating the weather across parts of England and Wales. Here in Scotland, we've got high pressure building in, and that's doing a couple of things. It's putting us into a cold northerly airflow, dragging in that cold Arctic air, so our temperatures will drop a degree or two, but it's also acting as a bit of a buffer from the bad weather from moving up from the south of the UK. Back to you just now as we head into the overnight period. We're continuing to see quite a few scattered showers around, a lot of those merging together into longer spells of rain through the early hours of tomorrow morning, and it will be a widely breezy night to come too. Temperature-wise, in some rural spots where we hold on to clear skies, getting close to, if not below, freezing. So looking ahead to Thursday morning, a very chilly, cloudy and damp start to the day, but as we head into the afternoon, a lot of those showers and the rain will start to retreat southwards, and we'll see some drier and brighter spells developing. Temperatures reaching highs of 8 or 9 degrees Celsius, but feeling a lot cooler out and about with the wind chill. Looking ahead to Friday, like I said, high pressures dominating our weather. Overall, a reasonable, kind of pleasant day to come. There will be lengthy spells of sunshine. It will be largely dry. Still feeling quite cold though, temperatures reaching highs of 8 or 9. Any showers we do see confined to northern coasts. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, the Northern Lights could be visible in parts of the country tonight after a dazzling display last night. Stargazers were delighted by the red glow from the aurora borealis. The stunning light display is created when solar particles interact with the Earth's atmosphere. That's all for the moment. I'll be here at the slightly later time of 25 to 11. Have a good evening.